morphological analysis, I mean the analysis of words. What are poems actually? What are compositions, literary compositions? Any kind of writing, the text, the verbal text. These are heavily dependent on words. Morphology in linguistics is a special branch of analysis where we study words, how they are formed, what is their relationship, what are the relationship of the words to other words in the same language. So it also talks about the structure of words, parts of words. So in morphological analysis, usually we find that the words have different parts like stem, the root words, and then there is also affixation, the process of word formation with the help of prefixes and suffixes. So there are different parts of speech related to words. We know that 8 parts of speech are related to words. Of these, 4 are related to those parts of speech that are lexical, means containing meaning independently as well as grammatical function. And also there are 4 parts of speech that talk about grammatical function of the words. In words, we also have a stress pattern. Words can be divided into syllables, and all the words in English do not receive stress. All the syllables do not receive stress. So there is a unique stress pattern in English language, and these are all analyzed in morphological analysis. So we have to know the basic of morphological typology. Okay, this morphological typology refers to the language, the lexicology, refers to the classification of the words and how the words contribute to the meaning. We know the words contain the basic thing called morpheme. Morpheme is the minimal indivisible unit of word. Okay, morpheme is the minimal indivisible unit of word. So that cannot be further divided. And with this morpheme, that is also the root word, we can build words with the help of affixation or inflection. We can create words. Say a word like write, W-R-I-T-E. So we have this root word write as a morpheme. And if we create more words with the help of this, we have written participle form, or say writing, progressive form of the word. So wrote, past tense of the word. Different words can be formed with the help of this. In the morphological analysis of the words, we must first look out whether the word has a structure or not. And in the structural analysis of the word, we find that words contain the basic root called morpheme. Some morphemes are free morpheme and some are bound morpheme. By free morpheme means I refer to some parts that can independently exist. Okay, while bound morphemes are again parts of words that exist only in relation to others. Okay, so we have affixation and suffixation and the things that are added to words to make words, say ing, ed. So these are the inflectional word formations that we find. Say apostrophe s. These are word formations that we find. Apart from this, we also have in English language the use of different types of words. Say hybrids are created, portmanteau words are created, neologisms, new words are created. We also have the process of compounding, where 2 parts are combined together. Say green board, okay, whitewash. So we have compounding. So plural formation is also there in words. Boy, boys, girl, girls. So the plural formation is also there. And we also have gender transformation, word transformation. So phonological as well as orthographic modification also take place in certain words. The morphophonemics is also essential for morphological analysis. Morphophonemics means the words that contribute to the phonological modification of language. So because of the affixation, sometimes the pronunciation changes. So we have lexeme and word forms. prosodic word and morphological word. So prosodic word means the use of word in poetry also contains some kind of pattern. And when we analyze the prosody of a line, we find that some portion of the word, some syllables are stressed, emphasized. Such prosodic words are also there. And then we have the word formation through derivational process or through inflectional process. So inflectional process usually are class maintaining, while derivational are often class changing. So class changing means from noun it becomes verb, verb to adverb, adjective. These formations can be done through derivational affixations. Okay, prefix or suffix. We can change words. Inflectional suffix refers to the class maintaining inflectional changes that are there. Word class remains the same and word formation takes place. Derivation and compounding are other word formation processes. So we have in English language so many loan words. So these loan words are taken from other languages. They have a different phonological structure. And these loan words are also used in language. And then we have the use of tense, use of aspect, mood, number, gender, case. So there are some words in the parts of speech list you find. Pronouns, for example, conjunctions, interjection, prepositions. These are words that are used. There is obligation. These are obligatory lexical items that are used. Although sometimes they do not contain independent meaning of their own. Say the word and or but, they do not have their independent meaning. But in sentences, they contribute to the meaning formation. A poet, when he is writing, he is actually selecting from a menu of words. And through this selection from this menu of words, he foregrounds the content. So on the schematized patterning, as well as on the level of the contextual foregrounding, words play an important role. A writer usually has a menu of words and makes a conscious selection of words. Sometimes, in absence of words, the poet has the license even to create words. Even a journalist has a privilege or license to create words. In the advertisement world also, we find the use of word formation. Journalists, in order to foreground. So I remember the advertisement of the telegraph. A word formation was there, unput down able. So this is actually a phrase, something that is there that cannot be rejected, that cannot be left out. So instead of that, the writer has created this phrase, unput down able, a word. So word formation is done through multiple affixation. So in morphological analysis, we have to see whether the words are monomorphic or polymorphic. In case of polymorphic words, we definitely have some kind of process of word formation. Word formation also contributes to the level of meaning. There are different kinds of meaning that are attributed to the words. And when the words are set in composition, arranged together in a sentence pattern, we have a proper meaning. So syntax and semantics both are also related to the morphological content. Lexeme-based morphology usually takes us to item and process approach. So instead of analyzing a word from a set of morphemes arranged in a sequence, a word form is said to be the result of applying rules that alter a word form or stem in order to produce a new one. So inflectional rules are to be followed while applying or using a word. Word-based morphology is also analyzed, is also done, where the word and word paradigm is used. So in this kind of word-based morphology, instead of stating rules to combine morphemes into word forms or to generate word forms into stems, generalizations that hold between the forms and inflectional paradigms, these are used. So we have the proper typology of morphological uses. We also have the philological study of words. That means the history of the development of word. And accordingly, we can also classify the words, whether the words are very old, archaic words, or whether the words were used sometimes ago, say during the 19th century, the words were used, whether the words are modern, present coinages. So this morphological analysis allows us to get an idea regarding the structure of the morpheme. So when we apply this knowledge of linguistics, that is called morphology, to the study of literary text, we call that morphological analysis. So in morphological analysis, the first point that we must discuss is that whether the words that are used by the poet from a menu of words are predominantly monomorphic or polymorphic. If the poet has used more monomorphic words, that means the poet is trying to place the meaning in a very clear manner. When the poet uses maximum polymorphic words, there is some kind of complexity through this process of word formation that is there in the poem. So this is our first point of analysis. Just by seeing the word, you can easily identify whether only the root words are used. So we know the parts of speech. 8 types of words are there grammatically: noun, verb, adverb, adjectives. So these words are independent, meaningful, okay, indivisible. They can exist independently as their syntax. But some of these words are also part of formation. Say slow, slowly. Okay, slow. Walk slow. Walk is a verb. Slowly. Okay, slowly is adverb. So we have different types of words. But these 4 types of words, noun, verb, adverb, adjective, they have their independent meaning. They can exist freely. They contain basic morpheme and some kind of word formation is there. In some cases, there is no word formation. So perfect and perfect. Okay, absent. Absent. So I'm using the same word as noun as verb by shifting the stress from the first to the second one. So these words are independent, functioning as noun or as verb. When these words are used in the literary text, we have the meaning of this word in the context, in the environment where the word is placed. So in the first point, you will talk about the selection of monomorphic word or polymorphic word. There can be a mixture of these 2 types of words, monomorphic and polymorphic words. And in some cases, we find that out of the 8 parts of speech, there is a tendency of the poet to use words that are grammatical, like prepositions, conjunctions, interjection, okay, or pronoun. So this type of word, when they are used in the poem, they give some kind of force or speed and make the meaning very clear. As you know, these words are obligatory. Mandatorily, you have to apply the words. Perfect preposition, you have to apply. Conjunction, you have to apply. But there can be a case where the poet has consciously used multiple conjunctions, or a poet has not used conjunction, just used commas, punctuation mark. So we have different figures of speech related to that. In the second point, you will talk about word and meaning. Okay, I will refer to 2 ways of looking at word. First way, I am taking from Practical Criticism of I.A. Richards. Although this is not a part of linguistics, I.A. Richards, in his Practical Criticism, talked about 4 kinds of meaning based on sense, feeling, tone, and intention. Okay, the word that is used in a poem or a literary text According to I.A. Richards, in the book Practical Criticism, words have 4 kinds of meaning. Okay, number 1, related to sense, related to feeling, related to tone, related to intention. Okay, it is very difficult to find individual word and its meaning based on sense, feeling, tone, and intention. But when the same word is used in a literary text, we have at least 4 kinds of meaning according to I.A. Richards. Take, for example, the opening line of the poem, "My heart leaps up when I behold." So in this particular line, the poet has selected some words. In the previous classes, you pointed out that these words that the poet had selected is conscious, but the poet had options. Other words were there. Instead of see, watch, glance, look, the poet has consciously used the word behold. So behold, as you know, is a word that is referring to a sense, a feeling, a tone, as well as an intention within the context of its usage. So what is the sense? The poet is using this with a kind of holistic sense, as if having a holistic view, okay, of the rainbow. The feeling generated is that of joy, and therefore the poet, in this state of sublime, in a state of exuberance, ecstasy, the poet is using this word behold. The tone is rather related to divine, okay, feelings, and therefore the tone is not ironic, it is dramatic. The tone is more dramatic, and the intention of the poet is to foreground the significance of the rainbow. Therefore the word behold is related to the rainbow. Even in, say, Solitary Reaper, the poet has used some archaic words. In the first, the word that is used is behold. Behold her. You remember Solitary Reaper? Behold her lonely in the field, yon solitary highland lass. So yon, that word is used. Usually the English reader during that time was not familiar with that word yon. So from the medieval English, the poet has taken this archaic word yon in order to suggest the distance between the poet and the subject, the Solitary Reaper. So there is a distance between. So there, instead of there, the poet has used yon solitary highland lass. Again, in the selection of the word, we have an effective foregrounding based on sense, feeling, tone, and intention. So this was what I.A. Richards says. So if possible, select some keywords of that literary text and show these 4 levels of meaning generated by the poet. Okay, come to the third point. So every word has a literal meaning. By literal meaning, I refer to the meaning that is written in the dictionary. According to Ferdinand de Saussure, words in the typographical form, in the graphic form, represents actually the sound. Okay, so sound is represented through alphabet, and this sound refers to either object, concrete material object, or some abstract thought or idea. A tree, he gives the example of tree. So when we think of tree as an image, that image, the signifier, has no relationship with the signified, the sound, tree, T-R-E, and the spelling, T-R-E-E. So signifier relationship, according to Ferdinand de Saussure, is arbitrary. But once the sound and the spelling is made, tree or T-R-E-E, these are made, the meaning of the word becomes fixed. So when you hear the word tree or you read the word T-R-E-E, the idea that comes here in your mind is the image, the object, although there is no relationship between that object and the sound that object produces. Apart from a few onomatopoeic words, most of the English words are arbitrary, according to Saussure. So that is the literal meaning. The first level of meaning is the literal meaning, that is fixed. The dictionary meaning, that is fixed. The second level of meaning is the syntactical meaning of the word. Syntactical meaning refers to the grammatical usage of the word. Say in Mariner's poem, in Coleridge's Rime of the Ancient Mariner, we have water. So water, water everywhere. This word water, the meaning is literally fixed. Water is water is water, nothing else, nothing more. So literally that is fixed. In this context, this word has been used with a grammatical function. This water is a noun. That is the syntactical usage of this word, water, in the context of the line. Okay, this word can be used as a verb. So I will water the flower pots of my garden. So I'm using water as a verb. But in this line, water, water everywhere. The poet is consciously using the word twice, both as nouns. Now, if you think that if I read this line as water, water everywhere, so the meaning changes. Okay, the second, if I use as verb, or the first we use as verb, water, water everywhere. That means give water. Okay, so drench everything with water. But that is not the intention of the poet. So second meaning is based on the syntactical, grammatical usage of the word. The third level is the contextual meaning of the word. So according to modern linguistics, the word has 4 levels of meaning. Number 1, I said, is literal. Number 2 is grammatical. Number 3 is contextual. So in the context of the poem or the text, literary text, where the word has been placed and what does the word mean? What is the meaning of the word? Say in several usage, we have the transfer of epithet from one place to another. Okay, transferred epithet, where the word, the epithet, the adjective is shifted from its actual place to another place, thereby modifying the next word. That is a figurative device. That means the context of the word has changed. Instead of its proper placement before that particular noun, that adjective has been replaced or placed in another position in front of another noun. So according to that context of the word, where the word has been placed, say in Solitary Reaper, behold her single in the field. So this line could have been said in a different way. Instead of placing behold at the beginning, the poet might have used this word elsewhere. And in the context of the line, the word will mean only the verbal use of the word. It refers to the act. Okay, doing word, it becomes a doing word. Grammatical level, it becomes a doing word. And then the doing word is placed in a particular place in the context of the line. So we have to identify where is the context, what is the context of the word. And with that context, the word will have some kind of meaning. Okay, and the final one is the significance of the word. That is beyond the literal, beyond the grammatical, beyond the contextual. Okay, it becomes a symbolic signification, metaphoric signification. Okay, trope. The word becomes a trope. The analysis of the word as a trope is the 4th level of signification. I shall be focusing on this word as trope to be very important in morphological analysis, because as Arthur Symons in the book called The Symbolist Movement in Poetry has stated, what are words themselves but symbols? So whenever you use words that have extra literal, extra grammatical, extra contextual significance, the words become symbols. So all the words cannot become symbol. Only those words that function as noun usually become symbol. Apart from noun, we also have some words that act as verb, adverb, adjective, has the propensity to become symbol. But mainly noun words become symbols. Gertrude Stein wrote the line, a rose is a rose is a rose. So we have the repetition of the word rose in the context of the line, where the literal, the grammatical, the contextual, as well as the semiological or the significance of the word rose remains fixed. And this was a conscious attack of Gattu's strain against the propensity of the writers to use such words as symbols. So William Blake is writing, you remember, "O rose, thou art sick." The word rose, literal meaning is the same. The word rose is a noun in this line. In the context, the word has been placed in a proper SVO order, subject, verb, object order. "O rose, thou art sick." So it is a description of the rose. Rose has been compared as sick. Therefore, rose becomes sick rose. Sick rose, the fourth level of analysis, makes the rose a symbol of sickness, of disease. Therefore, the rose that has positive qualities has now turned something sick. So apparently it looks like a rose, but inside there is a canker that is eating up the rose. There is a worm, the invisible worm, that is gradually eating up the rose. So there the rose has already undergone some kind of change. So the four levels of meaning are to be written. So when Robert Burns is writing the same line, "Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that sweetly sprung in June." So the word rose remains the same. Literal meaning remains the same. Botanical rose. Okay, grammatically it is a noun. In the context, this noun is supported with red, red. Okay, repeated twice. The red, adjectival, attributed to rose. So we can get the color of rose. And that color of rose is not just red rose, but it is red, red rose. So special contextual significance is given to the redness of the rose. So this rose is not an ordinarily literal rose, not simply a noun rose, but also a rose that is reddened. Okay, red, red rose. Therefore, the significance of this rose becomes something says, something changed. The significance becomes related to love, related to vitality, okay, related to youthfulness. Okay, it is also related to the color rose that is attributed in this context. So rose becomes a symbol of love, of youthful love, of passionate love, of sanguine love. So we have this transformation of the word rose. So in James Joyce's work, we have the use of grey rose. So in some modern poems, we have yellow rose, white rose. Okay. So everywhere the signification of the rose keeps on shifting. Rose is also used as a symbol. Let 1,000 roses bloom. So there the rose, the word rose refers to some kind of commune, ideas, okay, people coming together, living together, coexisting together. Let 1,000 roses bloom. Therefore, we have the transformation or the changing signification of the word. So this can be your third point of morphological analysis, where you will analyze the levels, the literal, the grammatical, okay, the contextual, and finally the semantic signification, semiology of the rose, significance of the rose. So apart from this, the fourth point, you will talk about different figures of speech. You're aware of so many figures of speech that are based on word. So figures of speech are both based on word construction as well as based on the meaning of the word. So we have morphological foregrounding. Again, the use of words for arresting the attention of the readers. Choice of words and the proper placement through patterning and deviation forms the basis of morphological foregrounding. You must have read Aurobindo's poem, Tiger and the Deer. So in that poem, the suprasegmental features of poetic discourse, they gradually blend thought and substance along with the truth represented. So choice of word is very important in that particular poem. gradually the manner of unfolding, the rhythm of the written poetic composition, the selection of word. So from a menu of words, the poet selects, seeing the structure of the word, seeing the property of the word, and the usage of the word. So monomorphic words are combined with polymorphic words. And we find that, say a line like this, brilliant, crouching, slouching, that crept through the green heart of the forest. So we have excellent use of word formation. So in morphological foregrounding, we have the use of schemes and tropes. Both schemes and tropes can be employed in morphological foregrounding. If you kindly remember the figures of speech that we have identified under the list called tropes. Let us focus first on tropes. What are the figures of speech based on tropes? The first most important is metaphor. Okay. So metaphor, what is a metaphor? Metaphor is a simple comparison between A and B. Okay, A and B. A is B is the general formula of a metaphor. Variety is the spice of life. Okay, what is the metaphor here? Variety, A, B is the spice of life. Okay, life is a walking shadow. Okay, camel is the ship of desert. So again we have the direct comparison between A and B. In case of metaphor, there is a vehicle. Okay, vehicle that carries. Okay, and this vehicle will carry a significance, a meaning. So we have the tenor and the vehicle. So camel is not the ship, we understand, but camel is like the ship. A ship can easily sail in the desert, similar to camel that can easily walk in the desert. So camel can walk in the desert, ship can sail in the sea. Therefore, camel is the ship of desert. Understand? So variety is like the spice that we apply to our food to make it tastier. Therefore, variety is the spice of life. So tenor and vehicle that contains significance, metaphoric significance. So we have to identify metaphors that are used in the literary text. English literature is highly dependent on metaphors. According to Geoffrey Leach, you must read that section where he is discussing morphological analysis. He says that English language is metaphorical, and we find several use of metaphors. All the world is a stage. Where is the metaphor? You can identify. So A is compared to B. What is A here? The world. B is stage.
Stage.
So all the world is a stage. What is the world then? World equals to stage. What is the stage then? Equals to the world. So we have the metaphoric meaning of the world as well as metaphoric meaning of the word stage. And these are expressed by the poet with the help of comparison. Similarly, we have figure of speech that is implicit, not explicit like metaphor, called simile, with the use of words like but, like, okay, so as, is similar to. We have the use of similes. Similes are also easy to identify. Similes are also based on words specifically. So metaphors and similes, these are word based, morphological based. So there you have to identify the words and to which word that word is compared to in order to give a metaphorical meaning. O Rose, thou art sick. That means Rose is sick. Therefore, Rose A, idea A is compared equals to idea B, sickness. Therefore, this metaphoric expression comes to us. So most of these tropes are based on some kind of relationship, either on similarity or association or contrast or indirectness or imagination. So most of the tropes that are word based are to be analyzed systematically. Tasks of a stylistician, morphological stylistician, is to identify the use of the word on the basis of the figurative usage. So the tropes that are used based on similarity or resemblance, based on association, based on contrast, based on indirectness, or based on imagination. These are to be pointed out. For example, figures of speech based on association, such as metonymy. Metonymy, as you know, metonymy refers to change of name. One name is used associated with another name. That is called metonymy, a figurative device that has been commonly used in literature. So we have metonymic expressions. Similarly, synecdoche is again a figure of speech where a part is used for the whole is used for a part, a genus is used for a species, vice versa. So we have synecdoche as a figure of speech. Then we have transferred epithet. I refer to that transferred epithet. The adjective that has its use somewhere is replaced and used somewhere else. Transfer of epithet. So these are all based on association. They can also be words based on allusions. Allusions. So the poet selects some words that allude to something else. So if someone says, "No, I am not Hamlet, neither I am meant to be. I am not Prince Hamlet." In Prufrock, Eliot is writing, "I am not Prince Hamlet, neither I am meant to be. I am an attendant lord." See this neutrality of the word attendant lord? Is it alluding to someone else? A lord is a lord, attendant lord is a servant. So this attendant lord, a messenger or a servant, alludes to the text, meta text, Hamlet. So Prufrock equals to Hamlet. Prufrock is said that I am not Hamlet. Again, an example of metaphor, but it is also a reference to some other literary text. So through this intertextuality, the poet is alluding to that literary figure, Hamlet. So allusion is again a figure of speech based on association, and such figures of speech are often seen. So I am not Helen of Troy. So Helen of Troy, that character drawn from Homer's Iliad, has been referred to. So this allusion is also a figure of speech based on association. Similarly, we have oxymoron. Oxymoron, you know, is a figure of speech. There we have the juxtaposition, the binary juxtaposition, contradiction of two words placed together. And these are antonymous words, means meaning opposites, antonymous words. These are placed side by side. And through that oxymoronic expression, figure of speech based on contrast, we have a special usage of the word. So oxymoron is a very popular figurative device, especially in the satirical poems. We have the excellent use of oxymoron. Similarly, paradoxical statement can be made. Climactic, anticlimactic statement can be made. Puffs, powder, patches, Bible, billet doux. So words are neutral, independent. Literal meaning is there. The grammatical meaning is there. The contextual meaning is there. The symbolic meaning is also there. But there is also the figurative meaning of the poem, of the words, according to the arrangement of the words. As we know that this is Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock, where this line has been used as a bathos, as an anticlimax. Puffs, okay, powder, patches, Bible. So gradual, it is rising. Elevation is there from the mundane to the divine. So as if that objects are arranged in a chronological order of ascendancy. And then finally there is this fall, a sudden fall to billet doux. Billet doux refers to letters, love letters. So Bible and love letters, oxymoronic, can exist together only in poetry, in the figurative device based on contrast. So we have this anticlimax in this usage. If someone says, "I came, I saw, I conquered." So three words are there: came, saw, conquered. And these words are arranged in a chronological order of ascendancy, increasing value. So we have a climax. The words are very consciously used. If someone says, "I came, I saw, I slept." Okay, I escaped. So it will become Anti-climax. I came, I saw, I conquered. It becomes climax. If someone says, I came, I saw, I fled away, it becomes anticlimax. So such usage of the word specific figures of speech. These are also grammatical, I understand. It is also structural, based on syntax, based on semantics, meaning. But these are basically based on the choice of words. So epigrammatic expressions are there, paradoxical expressions are there, and then there are figures of speech based on indirectness. Remember innuendo, so you're not stating things directly. Sarcasm, sarcastic comment is made with a selection of words. There can be circumlocution. Okay, euphemism. Such figures of speech based on the word, indirectness of the word, the meaning of the word. Oh, this Brutus is an honorable man. And yes, Brutus is an honorable man. Okay, I have come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. See the usage of the word bury? I have come to bury Caesar and not to praise him. So these contain indirect hint. The word has other significance. It reveals through the sarcastic comment that Brutus is an honorable man. And honorable men, what they do? They justify their act. And Caesar was, of course, a patriot. Caesar was not a coward. And what did Brutus do? Kill Caesar. Caesar loved his country, yes. Caesar loved himself, yes. But he loved his country more. The same word loved is used twice. There can be also figures of speech based on imagination of the poet. So words can transform its meaning through personification, through personal metaphor, even pathetic fallacy. Ah, solitude, apostrophe. So solitude, we understand, is a noun referring to some idea, abstract idea. Love, solitude, loneliness, abstract idea. And here we have the personification, okay, apostrophization of solitude, as if solitude is there and the poet is addressing, ah, solitude, where are thy charms, that the poet has written. So we have this transformation of the word. So literal meaning is same, grammatical meaning is same, the contextual meaning is also there, the significance is also there, and yet we have a figurative association, transforming the word into a personified, okay, projection of the word solitude. So in 12th night, Viola is telling her story, and there she is saying that she sat like Patience. Okay, she sat like a monument, Patience, smiling at grief. So this character transforms into a monument of patience, and patience is personified through this character, smiling at grief. So grief is also personified. So she is looking at grief and then smiling at grief. So this personification is also seen in this expression, smiling at grief. So through this, we also have extra meaning added. So there can be invocation. Invocation is also figure of speech based on imagination. We also have hyperbole. Okay, hyperbole, where we have extensive exaggeration with the help of words. Hyperbolic statement is made. Understatement is also there. So such figures of speech allow us to get a special significance of the words that are used, the morphological component that has been used. Even in the phonological analysis, okay, some figures of speech that contain schematized pattern, we also have the word selection. Some words also create some kind of schematized patterning. So repetition of word create a lot of figures of speech. So in the 5th point, you will talk about the schematized patterning of words. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. So where is this morphological foregrounding? The morphological foregrounding is there with the help of the repetition of the word twinkle, tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. So the last line of the stanza, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry, morphological foregrounding. Fearful, again a morphological foregrounding. So we have the repetition of the word tiger twice for drawing the attention to this kind of enigmatic image that the poet is foregrounding. And then there is this enigmatic image of the tiger associated with the word fearful, and this word fearful associated with symmetry. That means the tiger with fearful symmetry is the subject, and the poet is drawing our attention to this choice of word, repeating the word tiger twice, using the word fearful, using the word symmetry in order to foreground, draw our attention, arrest our attention to the subject, central subject of this poem. So in Rhyme of the Ancient Mariners, again the repetition of the word water and the use of the word shrink. So water, water, everywhere, all the boards would shrink. This word shrink, and this shrink is again paired with the word drink. Water, water, everywhere, not any drop to drink. So see the contrast of shrink and drink along with water. So too much of water and too little to drink. So that contrast, that irony of the enormous water, the sea that is there surrounding the ship that is stuck like a painted ship on a painted ocean. That is the description there, a painted ship on a painted ocean. So that ship that is stuck in this silent sea has plenteous water, but there is not a single drop to drink. The sun is very hot, and therefore the board, even the board is shrinking, the wooden board is shrinking. So there is this absence of water and the presence of water simultaneously, and this has been done through the foregrounding of the word water, repeated 4 times in this stanza. So this is a special patterning, schematized patterning of the word water in this. So we also have tautology, where words are used in a roundabout manner. We also have epistrophe, anaphora. Anaphora, you know, a figure of speech based on the repetition of the word in the initial position. So you remember Tagore's poem, where the mind is without fear and the head is high, where the knowledge is free, where. So we have a series of relative clauses beginning with where. All these lines begin with the word where, and then concludes into that heaven of freedom, oh Father, let my country awake. So the repetition of the word where at the beginning of each line, anaphora. Similarly, we have epistrophe, repetition of the word and repetition of the word. We also have the replacement of the original word with some kind of new type of representation done through systematic shortening of the word. You remember the figures of speech related to the shortening of the words? Apocope, syncope, epanocope. So we have the shortening of the word. The vowel sound is shortened. So cannot becomes can't. Do not becomes don't. Okay, it is becomes tis, tis, apostrophe tis. Such shortening of word is also done. So the process is apocope, syncope. So we also have figurative usage of the word. Okay, for exclamatory purpose, for interrogative purpose, and even for chiasmus. Chiasmus, we have a series of words A, B, C, C, B, A. That is the structure of chiasmus. So A represents a word, B represents a word, C represents a word. So A, B, C, this sequence of word is totally inverted. C, B, A. Beauty is truth, truth is beauty. Okay, fair is foul, foul is fair. Such kind of use, structure of words and the sequence of word contributes to the figurative device based on construction called chiasmus. Similarly, we have ascendaton. Ascendaton, we have the use of comma, 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 the word and go missing. So instead, we have polysyndeton, where the and appears in full force, multiple use of conjunction, and. So we have polysyndeton. So again, the word is overused. So these are the figures of speech we have to identify in our fifth point. Words that are arranged in an order in order to reveal some kind of special significance in order to foreground. So morphological analysis will take us into the meaning of the poem, and from a choice from a menu, the poet has to select a word that is more appropriate. There are different types of words that are used in poetry, and these words are classified according to philological development of the words, historical usage of the word. Three types of words can be said. One is archaic word, very old, obsolete word, no longer used. Second is the middle word, and the third is the common, okay, contemporary words that are used. So in modern poems, we have the use of contemporary words. In Victorian and Romantic poems, we have the use of the middle words. And in the Middle English poems, we have the use of the archaic Middle English words or Old English words. But in some poems belonging to these ages, say modern poem that contains some medieval words, old archaic words, you can see. So this type of words can be there. Words can also be of different origin. Okay, loan words. There can be also word formations related to. So we have to go for a morphological analysis of the words. We have to try to search for the source of the words. Special cases the words are used. Some words are even onomatopoeic, just meaningless utterances that reveal the sound. Say in Wasteland, the Wasteland, the poet is using oh, the Shakespearean rag. Okay, it can be rag also. So again, in one section, he is using the sound, mechanical sound, jug, 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 mechanical sound. So the use of the word in order to represent the onomatopoeic effect, the sound effect. So such words are also there. Consciously, the poet may use. They can be loan word. They can be hybrids. They can be words based on formations, different types of formations, like compounding. Compound words are there. You are familiar with compound words? Compound words have two parts. Okay, the first and the second. The first part usually is accented, stressed. The second part is not stressed. Black board, green board, white wash. So the poet sometimes use such compound words. So you have to identify these words and comment on their use. There can be also neologism. In Coleridge's poem, we find the use of such words. Even in Shakespeare, we have so many new words. Elizabethans were not familiar with those words. Shakespeare has coined more than 1,000 words. Say the word assassination has been coined by Shakespeare. Hasas hasis, Arabic phrase. That means to poison someone with opium. So the feudal tribes used to poison the enemies with hashish, drug them with hashish or opium. Hashash hashish. So the sound appealed to Shakespeare, and then he used that word in his plays, created the word assassination. So such words are to be identified, and how these words contribute to the creation of the text. In Coleridge's Rime of the Ancient Mariner, he is using simple words, but when he is describing the rising of the sun, he is using a neologism, new word called, that is not used in English. Nor dim nor red like God's own head, the glorious sun uprist. So last word, uplist. This word is not common, neither a medieval English word or old English word, not an archaic word, but rather a neologism in order to show the fury, wrath, the anger of the sun. The mariner has just killed the albatross and his sin is being punished. The sun, in fury, arrogant form, has appeared, and therefore the sun is not rising. Sun does not arise. Okay, arose, the word is not used. Rather, the poet has used a harsh consonantal sound and created a word resembling the past participle form, but it is not there. Uprist. Uprist he is using. The sun uprist. The sun is described with such violence of consonant. So again, we have the morphological selection of the word. Neologism is used. So we have to refer to these. So this much for morphological analysis. If you have any questions, you can ask. So you have to write one paragraph at least on morphological analysis of the lines that are given.